Good day. My name is Brian Staudenauer. I'm the lead child and youth program coordinator with the Vermont National Guard contractor. Before I get into it, I'd like to welcome you home and thank you for your and your family's service to our state and to our country. I'm here to talk to you all today about reintegration, coming back home. Title of the presentation, Now That We Are Back Together. I want you to bear in mind as we move through this presentation today that I'm going to cover different age groups. I'm going to cover each objective and then cover all those age groups with underneath that objective and then move on to the next objective. So our three basic objectives for today are: 1, is this normal? 2, what do we do? And 3, so now what? So first, let's talk about some of the exhibited behaviors. A few notes before we get going. Not all children will follow patterns, and you may only observe minor and occasional behavior changes. Be realistic. Don't set expectations too high. Remember that behaviors or habits that were there before deployment have not suddenly disappeared. Don't expect too much too fast. Take time to become a family again. Let every individual within the family determine what their best pace is and work at their pace with them on their level. Children want their newfound independence to be noticed by the returning parent. Like you, your children have gone through changes during your deployment, physically, emotionally, and intellectually. There's some catch up to be had. Kiddos, they're going to need time to adjust to the changes of you being home. Slow the pace, have fun, and enjoy spending time with them. All right, so let's jump right in and start with our infants, 0 to 1. They may exhibit some of the behavior that you're seeing on the screen here, but please bear in mind that infants, that this age group, they have not developed enough to be able to readily remember people or events. So they don't remember you if they met you or they're just meeting you for the first time. Please try not to feel jealous of the extra time and attention that your infant is receiving. It may seem as though your loved one has run out of energy and time for you. Well, and they have, and that's partially your fault. You're having a child together. That infant is going to need extra attention from both of you, but in particular the primary caregiver, so that they develop appropriately and adequately. Something you can do to help out with that attention is that you can step up and offer to help with your new baby's care. It's gonna relieve stress and provide good quality bonding time between you and your child. It might relieve some of that guilt you might be feeling because you've missed some milestones in the baby's development. You've missed some family events more than likely as well. And that's also taking time with your kiddo. It's going to score you points with the caregiver that was left back at home. So just bear that in mind. Here's a pro tip for you. Begin establishing a nighttime routine with your infant, like reading a story, giving them a bath, or just holding them and snuggling them. Time is what you need to put in here. Time. All right, let's jump up to the 1 to 3 year olds. This age group is moving around and discovering wonderful things. They begin to push limits you've set and the caregiver, spouse, or partner has set for them. And they're realizing that he or she, they can use the word no, they know the word no, and also the reaction that it gets from you. You may be exhibiting some regressed behavior. Maybe they had overcome sucking their thumb or sucking their fingers, and maybe that started up again. Maybe they're regressing and backsliding in their potty training. So just be patient. They're adjusting to a new home situation. Understanding behavior triggers is super important. When dealing with children, their behavior triggers usually comes into question. When a child acts out, though undesirable behavior, focus on what the behavior is telling you about the child's needs. Is he or she looking for love, power, freedom, playfulness? Before disciplining them, based on their behavior, take a minute to look past that behavior and what the underlying message may be. Pro tip here, consistency is key to establishing or reestablishing your relationship. So carve out time every day, no matter how small that time may seem. Moving on up to that 3 to 5 year old category. These kiddos are very busy. They seem to have endless energy, which can be exhausting to keep up with. They are learning their place in the family and developing their social skills by learning how to get along with others and interact with their peers. They may be feeling abandoned, and feeling like you don't care because you left, or feeling like maybe you left because of something they do. Please make sure and take time, lots of time, to assure them that that was nothing to do with it, that this was your job, and this was a commitment that you made to the country and to the state, and you're upholding that commitment. That is a beautiful and wonderful lesson for them to see and to understand. The last one there, blurring the lines between reality and imagination. This is their way of processing and coping with the situation at hand. So you may see them bringing those two things together in a way to help them process and deal with the information. Totally natural. All right, let's step up to that 5 to 12-year-old age range. This age range, they're constantly bringing about new interests and activities, always changing. So make sure you're in tune with it. This age range, especially when they get up to that 10, 11, 12-year-old age range, they might start to pull away from you a little bit as peer influence becomes greater on them. So be mindful of that and use that time to your advantage whenever you are with them. Even though they're not around the house as much as before, because they're out playing with their friends, they're engaged in other activities, this is a perfect time for you to reframe your relationship with that kiddo. Take a minute and revisit what's going on with the two of you. If your relationship was positive prior to departure, they might be super excited for you to come back home. They might want to just take up all your time. They're going to want to show you everything that they did in school and beyond, and they're going to want to talk and talk and talk about that time you were away. Conversely, if your relationship was challenged beforehand, they might be nervous to have you come home. They might be scared. Whenever you do return home, they might have been initially withdrawn or hesitant. Note from this 6th age range group that you want to notice the advancements they have made in the development of their physical skills and abilities. Reinforce their excitement as they show you that they can play ball, do handstands, ride a bike, just anything that they're excited to show you about. Be excited with them. As far as their mental development, and understanding some of these developmental changes, this is going to help you to make decisions on activities as they relate to what your child, is able to accomplish. They're going to have an increased ability to relate to the outside world. Peer influence, it's going to come up, be more and more important to them. They're going to begin to assume more responsibility and understanding of the rules. And you can help them in this development of their sense of right and wrong. It's the perfect time to reinforce this understanding. As far as emotional advancement goes, 6-year-olds, they're sensitive to criticism and have difficulty cooperating with other kiddos. Sharing toys is an issue because they value independence and ownership of possessions. 7-year-olds, they're going to begin relationships with members of the opposite sex. You can watch them transfer. You can watch this age range transfer from physical reactions to verbal expressions, their anger, and other emotions that they're starting to feel. And they will look to you and their friends for approval. 8-year-olds, they're starting to develop a deeper sense of who they are and can feel emotions and loyalty for others. They can begin to see their reactions and responses feel, such as being embarrassed or feeling good about being generous. You can begin to have discussions with them because they will have a better understanding of everything. Getting into the teenage years, 13 to 18-year-olds, they might be concerned about your return home. They may be nervous. They might be happy. It's really going to depend on what your relationship was prior to your deployment, as well as the communication that you were able to have during your deployment. It's likely that they took on more responsibility in your absence, and they're concerned, how is that going to change whenever you return home? You might see them withdrawing a little bit more than a typical teenager. Um, and they're curious how you're going to fit back into their situation, not the opposite. They're curious how you're going to fit back into their situation. So please be patient with them, and go at their pace. So how should you be responding to this behavior? A couple of big takeaways here are: let them set the pace. If they're pushing away, that's okay. It might not feel okay to you, but that's what they need. And it is about meeting them where they're at with this, not them meeting you where you're at. They're the child, they're the infant here. So slow it all down, meet them where they're at. Be patient, please. Be patient. Um, be patient with them. Be patient with yourself. Be patient with your partner, your caregiver, your spouse that was on the home front for you. Instead of pushing away from the whole situation because you feel bad about it, instead step up and offer to help with their care. Not only this relieves stress from you, it'll get you some points with that caregiver, that spouse that was on the home front with you, and more so, it'll really provide some quality time for you and your baby. And this may possibly help to relieve some of the guilt that you may be feeling for having to leave for a year while your baby was in those early stages of life. 1 to 3 year olds, again, take it slow. Let them set the pace. They're relearning. They didn't have a strong memory of you whenever you departed. And so they're relearning and re-getting to know you. So take that time to meet them where they are at and engage them where they're at instead of, again, instead of having them or making them engage you where you're at. Get down at their level. Sit, kneel, squat, lay down with them. Get at their level. Don't bring them up to your level. An easy one you can do is let them pick out their clothes. When it's your day to dress them, let them pick out their clothes. And don't be judgmental. Don't be critical about what their decision is. Let it ride. And if you really want to get points with them, let them pick out your outfit. And yes, you got to wear it for the whole day. Up to the 3 to 5 year old category, you really do have to accept their feelings. Their feelings are valid, just like your feelings are. So accept their feelings for what they are and meet them there. Look at the desirable behaviors that they're having and reward them for that. And the best thing you can do to reward them is with your time and with your experiences and spending that and sharing those with them. Support that other parent, that caregiver, when they enforce the rules. That's going to gain you ground with them, especially, and also it'll gain trust out of your youngster. Participate in the activities that they want to participate in. Play with them. Be silly. Engage them. Again, engage them at their level. Back to that 5 to 12-year-old age range where there's a lot of development going on mentally, physically, developmentally, emotionally. So giving them lots of attention, super important. Make sure you're going over and looking at photos of their last year and your last year, and sharing with them what you can about your experience being deployed. Praise their accomplishments, the accomplishments they made while you were away, as well as the ones that are here now upon you. Avoid being critical or unnecessary discipline. Remember to look through those behaviors to see what they're really reaching for with those behaviors. Show interest in their feelings, activities, and accomplishments by being an active listener. Whenever they share something with you, ask them why. Ask them. And help them to understand what you did while you were gone. Jumping back to those teenage years. 13 to 18-year-olds, praise what they have accomplished while you were gone. Share in those moments with them. Yes, you missed those actual moments, but have them revisit them with you. Make sure they're aware of how important they are to you. Be careful to criticize or tease teens. They can be very sensitive. Make time to have them share about how they are and who they are, what they want to become, where they see themselves going. Just try. and make time. Put on their shoes. It's not that far away that you were once a 13 to 18-year-old. Absolutely, times have changed, but you still remember everything that was going on in your person and in your being during that time. There's a lot of stuff changing with our bodies biologically during this time range. So there's a lot going on with this 13 to 18-year-old category, right? There's a lot of biological changes happening, which is going to create a lot of emotional and physical and mental changes within their body. So just keep that in the forefront of your brain. They got some new chemicals pumping around their body, possibly, that is changing the way that they behave and act. Okay, so this group is really concerned about their privacy. And just like you are, they have earned and should be given some privacy. And if they're taking that too far, if your family seems to think that they're taking that too far, then there's a conversation that needs to be had, a conversation with everybody involved in the household, and that your teenager is a part of as well, and that they feel like, and they're made to feel like, that their contributions to that conversation are valid and valued, and they're being heard by all parties involved. Okay. So this is also a time whenever you need to keep your values out there so that your teen can see what you live by. And then you need to support him or her in their own decisions regarding values. So you may want to say things like, these are my values, and not, these are the values that we will all need to live by for this family. Because that's imposing your values on them. This age range is really learning how to have adult relationships, and they're looking to you for that modeling. They're looking to you to see how a positive relationship between one adult to another happens and transpires, and what to do in that situation. And so this is a great opportunity for you to be the great role model and show them what that looks like. And it's also a good time for you to show them what it looks like to do some self-care. So taking time for yourself, absolutely, but also taking time to spend with them individually. Having a boys' night or a boys' day out, having a girls' night or a girls' day out, father-daughter stuff, mother-son stuff. Make sure you're spending individual time with each member of your household separately, so that they understand that they're that they are valued by you. So how should you be responding? I've mentioned it before, but set up a nighttime routine. Read a storybook, give them a bath, or just hold them and snuggle them. Jump in on the feeding times if possible, right? Wiggle yourself into that schedule that they've been working with. Here's a list of some simple activities that you can do with a 1 to 3-year-old. And you can do these side by side with them. You can do them while you're working on a separate coloring book or a separate wooden puzzle. You can be playing separately outside in your yard, but doing it together in a way. Side by side play instead of play together. That's what this age range really is looking for, side by side play. If you are the parent or caregiver that was left behind on the home front, and you're finding yourself not being able to separate from the child because the child is being overly clingy, what you can do is you can start to do activities in the same room, separated from that child, but doing something different. So if they're building a castle with blocks, maybe you're on the other side of the room working on a puzzle or doing a coloring book. But in the same room, in the same proximity, just doing something different. That's going to allow you both, but especially your infant, to see that the 1 to 3-year-old to see that it's okay to be a little bit separated from the caregiver that was around for so long, right? Pro tip here for everybody: consistency is key to reestablishing your relationship, right? Try to carve out time every day. If you can be consistent with the time of day, even better. A few minutes is way better than no minutes. So any time is good time. 3 to 5-year-old, go outside, run around the house, run around inside with the kiddo. But they want to run. They're going to want to play. They're going to want to play hide and seek. They're going to want to play tag games. They're going to want to jump rope. They're going to want to be starting to think about riding bikes. But just engaging them in activities that they want to do. Something that's on here that I do with my boys, I got a rock. They both have rock collection, my two sons. Anytime I go somewhere, when they're not with me on a trip, I bring a rock back from that location. I write on that rock with a Sharpie where I acquired it in the year that I picked it up. Super easy, and they seem to love it. I've been helping out with my kids baseball, t-ball, baseball, and soccer since they were allowed to play those activities. I never played soccer other than in gym class, and yet I could still coach at that level. So get up and be a coach, even if it's stretching your boundaries a little bit. Holiday crafts are just crafting together. This age range loves to do crafts, so spend some time crafting with them. 5 to 12-year-old middle school age range, right? Um, you know, work on their homework with them. Ask them if you can be their study partner. Have them identify their corrections, and then you make them together. Look through photo albums and times and activities and events that happened while you were away, and discuss the people that were involved in those pictures and in those events. Show interest in the activities that they are participating in. And do those activities with them whenever it's not the organized, quote unquote, organized activity, but spend time with them. Back up to that teenager, young adult time. Even if they are feeling withdrawn, try to do these activities with them. If they're alienating themselves, work on these activities a little bit harder with them, right? Share some of your deployment experiences as appropriate, of course, and have them share some of the experiences with you. Listen to them. Don't do all the talking whenever you're engaged with them. Do 40% of the talking, if best. Listen to what they're saying. And when they are speaking, try really hard not to be judgmental with your response. They can sense it just like you can, so give them that and understand that. And become involved in their lives however you can. Even if they're resisting it first, it's just like them being withdrawn. Even if they're resisting it first, just keep chipping away at it. Keep chipping away at it. You ask them enough, and they're going to let you in. But again, it's got to be on their time, not your time. So please be mindful of that. All right, so you've tried these strategies and you're not getting much headway with them. What do you do now? You seek professional help. Consider seeking professional help. If you see any of these exhibited behaviors on this slideshow out of your child, please reach out to the Vermont National Guard Family Readiness Programs, and we can connect you with a mental health counselor for sure. And if they aren't able to assist you, then definitely they have colleagues out in the greater Vermont area that can assist you if you need something that's a little more specialized. But please be looking out for these red flags that you see in front of you, because they are certainly red flags. And if you see any of these, you do really need to consider seeking professional help. If I could leave you with any nuggets of goodness that would be my most important things to share with you and to have you walk away with, it's laugh with them, love them lots, and assure them that you are there for them no matter where you are and where they are. And make sure they know you believe in them and the person they are becoming. And do your best to make sure they know that lines of communication are always, always open. Any questions, comments, or concerns at this time? That concludes our slide presentation. Thank you so much. You can find my contact information on this slide. Please check us out on Facebook, as well as on the ngfamily.vt.gov website. We got some great resources for you on there. We got some great programs that are coming up. So thank you so much, and you have a great day.